It's Friday, and he is Jalen.
What
Bro.
up, dog?
I remain David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in,
Together, we're Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we do?
we give the people what they want.
Jalen, I have never been as excited for a Tampa Bay Buccaneers season than I am for the upcoming season. I love all Buccaneers news. And the latest is this from GM Jason Light. He says that Bruce Arians and Tom Brady are actually a perfect marriage. And he cites how they are both sort of at the end of their career and they have a lot to prove. They've got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder and they want to take the league by storm. Jalen, what do you think about the GMs?
This is beautiful. And I'm not surprised that he feels that way. You make that decision when you decide that you're going to pay a 43-year-old quarterback $25 million a year over the next couple of years. That's when you make that decision we're going for right now. And trust me, everybody, especially on the offensive side of the football, Godwin, Evans, Gronk, their entire crew, Howard, they're enthusiastic that they're going for it now because so many times in sports, it's the Philadelphia 76ers. It's the we're a process. We're going to consider it moving slowly. They're going for it right now as a franchise of the four major has the worst win percentage. He got to come in there and do Peyton Manning, Jacoby, MVP. Seems like he's going to be playing with some better weapons and has a chance to do that. And can he win a Super Bowl? Those are things that Peyton did, aligning him with John Elway, a la Brady, Arians.
You know, I thought you made a nice point about the process and how a lot of franchises, when they're not doing well, they sort of rebuild and tear down and get good draft picks, and it takes like 8 seasons. Because you always look at things like an athlete, but I look at things like a fan. If I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, this is exactly what I want my team to do. Just go all in on this season. Because in 2024, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, no idea what they look like, but right now they look like a team that can compete. And I also like the fact that Sean Payton and Tom Brady are going back on the text about Week 1 matchup. And we have some other Tom Brady news, Jalen Rose. Right on the heels of The Last Dance is the announcement of the man in the arena, a 9-episode Tom Brady documentary. Jalen, does Tom Brady interest you enough for 9 episodes of a documentary?
Jacoby, I got to be 1,000 with you. My fellow Michigan alum, after seeing Jason Ayers work with the Fab Five doc, and how he put an exclamation point on it with his work with The Last Dance, getting fitted for suits because he's going to be winning so many awards. The first thing that comes to my mind is in any good story, there has to be heroes and GOATs. And I don't believe the Tom Brady story will have a Jerry Krause, a Horace Grant, or a Scottie Pippen in it. They exist, but they won't be in the doc. What are your thoughts?
It's just Tom Brady there are heroes and GOATs in both sense of the words. Tom Brady is the GOAT. However, there's an intrigue with Jordan. Jordan's cultural impact was just so much more than Tom Brady's, the way that he influenced culture and fashion and marketing and movies. And Tom Brady, to me, is a great football player, but I don't know much about him as a person. And when you talk about sort of, you need conflict, you need scandal, you need highs and lows. I guess we're going to talk about Roger Goodell would be sort of the machine that Tom Brady raged against, but I don't know how much interest I have in that of a story. It's going to take some real craftsmanship to get 9 episodes of interest out of me on this. If you told me it's a 2-hour documentary, I'm all in. I'll watch all 2 hours, but 9 episodes about Tom Brady. I hope that there's a lot more to this story that we don't know about. That's kind of what I'm looking at. It's like, they must know something I don't, and that's fair because I don't know much about Tom Brady, but there's got to be more to this.
No villains. Won't be any villains in this doc.
We will see. Jalen, we have some news. It is now time for some very special, unfounded, irresponsible speculation about Dak and the Cowboys. Jalen, there's some reports that there was large money on the table, something like $175 million. Reports that Dak Prescott said thanks, but no thanks, and that he was at odds with the Cowboys. There was so much fervor about it. And then Adam Schefter dropped this tweet just to shut it down. To clarify any recent speculation on Dak Prescott's contract negotiations, there have been no discussions on other scenarios other than the Cowboys wanting a longer deal and Prescott wanting a shorter deal per source. So they have to get a deal done by July 15th. Shefty's saying there's no real discussions. What do you think happens from here?
So it's a unilateral universe that's taking place with the Cowboys, as we talked about on yesterday's show, because the Cowboys took care of everybody that they felt was special on both sides of the football except their quarterback, the most important spot on the roster and in the game, and even brought in Andy Dalton and act like, oh, okay, we can sleep well at night knowing that we have him. So if I'm Dak, it's two decisions that I need to make right now. Am I going to be there long term? That means if they're giving me my number, yes. If they're not giving me my number, enter Kirk Cousins' route. Play 1, play 2 years under the franchise tag, and then you bounce. So you got to be ready to make that decision right now. That's how I would approach it.
Dak Prescott calls your phone and says, Jalen, you know, I really want to get a deal done, but I'm looking at this franchise number. It's over $30 million. Maybe I bet on myself. What advice do you give him?
It's a unilateral universe, Dak. You know, you come to me for your science and your information and your stats and facts. And what I'm trying to tell you is if they didn't look out for you, dog, like Carson Wentz got taken care of, Jared Goff got taken care of, Matthew Stafford. These are guys that got taken care of. If your Cowboys is paying everybody else and not you, let's get this franchise bread this year, though. You was making $2 million last year. We're going to go on and scoop that 30. And then we're going to scoop another 30, 35. And we got a contending type team. They just drafted CeeDee Lamb. We just paid Amari. We have a squad. We paid Zeke. Let's go for it these 2 years. And then you cash in somewhere else, though.
I think Dak was probably a little confused at the beginning of that phone call, but it all got together at the end. Now, Jalen, the last time that we saw Jerry Sloan, it was during The Last Dance. He was coaching against Michael Jordan and the Bulls in Game 6 of the finals. Some sad news today that we have lost legendary Hall of Fame head coach Jerry Sloan. Jalen, what memories do you have of Jerry Sloan?
Sad news for the NBA family, and he's one of those former players that when he coached his team embodied exactly how he played. Ferocious, tough, competed on every play, and going against his teams, the bigs ran rim to rim every single time. The wings ran outside of the lines underneath the hoop and crossed every single time. My good friend, like a brother, Howard Isley, played in Utah under Jerry Sloan for multiple years, and he always talked about his attention to detail, owning the things on the stat sheet, like keeping your turnovers down, keeping your effort high and your discipline and playing a team game, and all of the great things that he was able to do, not only for Utah as it relates to their wins and getting them to the finals, but helping nurture two of the greatest players that ever do it in Karl Malone and John Stockton.
RIP to Jerry Sloan. Condolences to the Sloan family. We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, there's so much to discuss in the worlds of sports and pop culture that we create a segment where you decide what we talk about. It's called Keep It Moving.
To Cal.
If you want to discuss the topic, say hit the brakes. If not, we will keep it moving. First up, an intriguing report from the New York Daily News that the Nets have discussed acquiring Bradley Beal.
Hit
the brakes and keep it moving.
Break.
Jalen, New York Daily News is reporting this. Just the idea of Beal, Kyrie, KD is intriguing. Do you think they could put together a package to make it happen?
NBA and Net fans get enthusiastic because it'll be the first trio in the league of gentlemen that each made the all-star team before they joined forces. It'll almost be like KD when he joined the Warriors, except the Eastern Conference version. And I know Kyrie's game is different than Steph's. I know Bradley Beal's game is different than Klay Thompson's, but they all still effective in their own right, except Tommy Shepard, the GM of the Wizards, got Beal to sign a 2-year extension. That means that he wants to be in Washington. They seem to have a pretty good relationship. And if I'm the Wizards, I'm not doing this deal in any way, shape, or form.
There's just not much on the Nets roster that I can see with plus picks that would make something that the Wizards would be interested in. However, this backcourt, in my opinion, would become one of the top 5 backcourts just immediately overnight like that in the NBA. Jalen, the Celtics had a very interesting way of settling squabbles back in the day. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Kendrick Perkins was telling a story about how CP might have been traded to the Celtics and maybe Rondo and Ray Allen was involved. That's not important. What is important is this. When Ray Allen and Rondo had a problem, they brought boxing gloves to practice and they duked it out with boxing gloves. Soft move or boss move? Settling your problems with boxing gloves.
This is definitely a boss move. Not the first time that I've heard of something like this. Our high school coach, Perry Watson, used to do something sort of similar to this. This was the climate of sports and basketball when you still could haze and or bully physically your teammates. This is a classic example of we don't like one guy. We really like the other guy more. And we think the guy that we like will lump up the guy that we really don't like. But we'll put on gloves so that we can act like it was a fair fight.
Did I hear this right? Coach Perry Watson, your mentor and father figure, used to put boxing gloves on you guys and you would duke it out?
Absolutely. What?
That ain't happening in 2020. That is not happening in 2020.
Hey,
I love
man,
Perry Watson
you guys get tangled up and y'all want to go ahead and do something and interrupt my practice and give me some bad energy, y'all go right ahead. Fight till y'all get tired, till y'all faint.
It's a good workout. Keeps people in shape. John Morant says that he deserves the Rookie of the Year.
He is. Ain't no question.
It's over. It's
and
already over, John.
Regardless.
It's already over.
Now.
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. You know that's my guy.
Jamal Adams, who in my opinion is the best player on the Jets, has reached a little impasse in contract negotiations with the franchise. Keep moving and hit the brakes.
You know how I feel about defensive backs instead of especially hard-hitting ones, safeties like this. The Jets should find a way to get it done, keep it moving for now.
We keep it moving.
Keep moving.
We keep it moving.
Aaron Donald is having trouble envisioning playing without fans. Keep moving or hit the brakes.
So hit the brakes on this one.
Okay. He says, I don't see how you could play a game without no fans.
Well, it's not about a salary. It's all about reality. And when each professional sport returns in 2020, fans will not be in the stands. I know you guys hear about collegiate football trying to come up with multiple models to do such. It's because the fan gate is worth so much in the bottom line percentage of revenue. Okay, for pro sports, I see them playing, but fans will not be there. So the knife-toting, training, best lineman, one of the best players in the NFL is going to have to get used to playing without fans.
When we come back, we will have a matchup between the Dream Team and the Redeem Team. I can't believe we're doing this.
It was a dream.
Stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. In the wake of the Last Dance, we all have Jordan fever, and LeBron James caught it as well. He was on the Uninterrupted video with Mav Carter and PR Paul Rivera, and he talked about the Dream Team from 92 playing the Redeem Team from 2008. What an interesting possibility. Jalen, let me just show you some of the key contributors. Obviously, it's not the full roster. They're Hall of Famers. They're not on this list. They were on each team. But looking at this matchup, how do you think this would play out on this hypothetical court?
It's a classic distinction of how basketball was different in the 90s versus the 2000s. If you look at the Dream Team, tall point guard Magic, point forward Scotty, electric shooting guard MJ, and then a ton of big men who will come into their prime, be Hall of Famers, and dominant in the league. And on the other side, a Kobe Bryant, the remix to Michael Jordan, LeBron James, one of the top players that ever do it. And so I understand we want to compare the two squads, but I can't front Jacoby. If they were to meet when the Redeem Team was playing that year and when the Dream Team was playing that year, I take the redeem team.
Oh,
Magic was older.
Good for you.
Larry
you,
Bird
Jalen.
had a bad back.
Oh, he was lying down on the side of the court the whole time.
They had
Jalen,
Christian Laettner on the squad.
Stay safe this weekend. We will be back on Monday. Highly questionable. Dan Levitar is next.
You're far too kind.
他就会吞下自己。